So
It's surprising that she was so tough but stocked the fridge with skim milk. So viewers, if you're listening and you drink skim milk, just turn off the podcast. We don't really need you here.
Don't need you.
If your cap's not blue or red, go. Welcome on the trail here again. Trail whispers, my friend. Welcome on the trail here again. Trail whispers round the bend. Trail whispers back again. Well, mic's on.
Are we on?
Got the green light.
Yep. Green light. So we've upgraded. You want to tell the viewers about our upgrade?
Hey viewers, welcome back.
Welcome back.
We got microphones.
And I got sponsored. My mug. Jay.
Yeah. You just got it on my cover. It's my son's mug. But we got these little lapel mics, and hopefully the sound quality has improved dramatically. So we just clip them on here. $18.99 on Amazon.
We had a sponsor by these ones.
Yeah. What are they called? I set it down somewhere. I forget what they're called.
Yeah.
You
want to share
Amazon's
the sponsor?
still a sponsor.
That's true. Amazon's still.
I was actually at one of our sponsor locations this evening. Ferguson. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Adjust Chiropractic. It's one of our
you did
sponsors.
go there tonight?
Yeah, I was there tonight.
No way.
Yeah. So I had an appointment at 5:10 or something.
Dude, how was it?
It was great, as always. Doesn't disappoint.
Did you ask him for the Widowmaker?
I forgot.
Dude,
I was distracted though. So this is what happened. So I go in and it's normal business as usual. The lady, what's her name up front? Red
Stephanie?
hair.
Oh, no.
No, Stephanie's a blonde hair girl. Red hair. Angela?
Yeah, I think it's Angela.
So she's like, hey, I got you checked in. You'll come back to the room. And I go back to the room. And then, like, Dr. B, I hear him over there, like, popping tables around and, changing people's lives with his witchcraft. And so I was sitting there, and then he walks in, and then this lady is with him. I say lady, lady. I don't know how old she is.
Not one of his kids.
No. Maybe like 25, 26. Okay. I'm really bad at judging women's ages. Sometimes they look weathered. I know it sounds bad. If I lost weight, my face would look weathered too, but we're on a constant fill out. We'll talk about that more later. But so he's like, Justin, this is Leah. She's interning, and then he turns around and looks at her and he says, Leah, you're in for a treat. And then he proceeds to tell her about the podcast, and he's like, yeah, they even mentioned the office on there, and she's like, really? So you have a podcast? What's it about? Like, she's like really she's interested in this. Yeah, and
future listener.
Hopefully, I sent him the link for episode 2 through Spotify because she asked, "Is it on Spotify?" And I said, "Send this to Leah in case she's interested." But she was just sitting there listening to these stories, and like he was trying to describe you to her, and he's like, "Have you ever seen Jeremy before? He's my friend I do Bible study with, and his whole family will come in. He goes, I don't know how to describe him. He's bald." And I was like, yeah. So me too, Doc. So yeah. And then, we just kept going back and forth, and he's asking me questions, and like, he's telling her like, yeah, so he sells decks, and like, she's super nice. Yeah. But it was,
did he talk about really your body at all? Like, how would he describe your body to her?
Let's get into that. So I actually brought it up to her. I just said, hey, Leah, because I'm turning around on this table, and like, and so for the viewers, if you've never been, do
we want to caution the viewers we're going to be talking about your body in case there's viewers with little ears?
If there's children listening, no, I'm kidding. But so like I'm trying to turn around on this table, and I'm just so unflexible, right?
And you always have been.
Yeah, I always have been. And so I told him, I was like, yeah, I can't stick up 3 fingers. And she was like, what do you mean? And so I just went like this. And she was like, is that real? And I was like, yeah, that's real. And she's like, it's just that hand? Did you have an accident? And I was like, no, it's both hands. And so she was like baffled. And like Brian was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, we talked about this. Like, I'm super inflexible. But there's nothing I can do because I've even tried. So like if you're watching, like this thing right here, I don't know what this is.
Your
it's
wrist?
Like the tendon. No, this
the
tendon. Feel that tendon right there.
Wow.
But like feel my arm in a resting state. Like feel this in a resting state.
It's not resting.
I know. It's always tight. Wow. So yeah, she was like amazed by this and whatever. And I was like, my hamstrings are the same way. Like I literally, like if I lay down and like my feet go up, like my hamstrings are strung. Like you can't move my legs. Something's off. Something's wrong. So, yeah.
Genetic testing future, we'll find out what's going on with this body.
I hope so. Did you get your results back?
I didn't do it yet. We're waiting.
I thought you were going to do it.
We're going to wait.
I thought it was super funny when he just like turned to her and he said, you're in for a treat. Because I'm like,
oh yeah.
What does that even mean? And who do you introduce other patients to the intern, or is it just me? So it was funny. But back to this, in Sunday school, I get diagnosed with something new every week. So we started this new Sunday school class I told you about at church. We're going through a book, which has been awesome. Great book. But the one lady in there is a doctor, and she is anatomy is her specialty. So like she teaches anatomy at Case Western, super smart lady. I think she's listening. Shout out, Megan, if you're listening. But she possibly diagnoses as something called ape claw. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And she's like, no, that's a real thing. Yeah.
Ape claw.
So I don't know exactly what it is.
You think your dad messed around in the jungles or something?
Part ape, one of his ancestors. I don't know. I'm a little light-skinned for that.
Yeah.
But
you got the physique for it, though.
It's like a silverback.
Definitely a silverback.
I have such broad shoulders. It kills me with suits.
So I would be curious. Maybe next time you can say, hey, Doc, if you want, you can let Leah practice, because if she can crack my body, she'll be able to adjust anybody.
Yeah.
Then you could almost, Brian, if you're listening, we could work this detail out. Maybe for all of his new interns, if they can't crack your body, kick them to the curb. They're worthless.
Yeah.
You're like the
final exam.
Final exam.
We're going to bring in the silverback. He's got ape claw. He's unflexible. He's strung tightly. And this is your final test. No, or it's kind of like, you know how you can go to like you could go to like a college training program like Stark State Barber College or something. Yeah. And like get your hair cut for like $2.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the deal, is like I go half price because I'm kind of like a project for these other people to work on. So Brian, if you're listening, I know I'm on the bundle right now, but maybe we could work out a bundle deal. So again, for our listeners, if you go Adjust Chiropractic in Canton and you use the code Witchcraft, you're going to get $10 off your first visit. So tell Dr. Brian we sent you. We're both patients.
Both patients. Both believers at this point.
Yeah, at first I was skeptical, to be honest with you. So yeah, I can talk about that. Like,
yeah, tell them how. So I tried getting you to go to a chiropractor, probably 2 years ago. And was it Blake as well that also?
Yeah, so my friend Blake goes there. Yeah. And like I know a bunch of guys. Blake's dad goes there. And so I don't know. I've just kind of always thought they were kind of witch doctors. Like the stuff they're doing. I'm like, what is going on? Like you go in these chiropractors' offices, you see all these charts, and then real doctors make fun of them and stuff like that. And so I was just like, what's going on? You know? But I decided it was in February of 2021. I only know that because while Dr. Brian was not in the office, I was reading the chart on the computer that he had up. So it had my first visit.
Ape claw.
Yeah, ape claw, half ape, half man. And so February 2021. So at this point, it's been close to 3 years that I've been going. But
I think that probably means, but next visit next month, it's probably free.
I should ask
3
him.
is free.
Yeah, 3-year anniversary visit is free.
It's free. It's
I should bring that up. That's a good idea.
Maybe like a free Sunday cone or something like that.
They sell supplements. Maybe they could fill a cone with supplements and I could just snack on some vitamins. Hey, if I was any better, vitamins be taking me.
It's true.
But
so anyways,
yeah, I decided I wanted to do something for myself because at the time I was like, I just felt like burdened down. I was like, man, like I'm working all the time, family all the time. I really don't do anything for myself. I'm like, once a month, I'm going to the chiropractor and I'm going to get my neck cracked, my back cracked, and it's going to be awesome. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to start doing it. So I did. And I love it. And I feel more flexible now. Like I'm looser. Like previously, I would never be able to like get a crack out of my neck or like even neck flexibility. But now I feel so much
flexible.
better. So, yeah.
And you said that the one time he adjusted, was it your elbow pain?
Yeah.
Is that when you really became the believer?
Yeah, elbow and shoulder, but I had a rib out of place. So he actually told that story to that new intern girl today. So, yeah, it was cool. Good trip. Good trip.
That's a good trip.
Always enjoy.
We were there earlier this week. Earlier last week. I think Tuesday last week. I always tell him whenever he's going to adjust my wife, she's also very tense on the table. And he's always like, you're one of my most tense patients. And she's just, we've been going for like 6 years regularly. So we've been going long enough that you'd think she'd finally like loosen up. And of course, when he's, getting your neck into that position before he gives you that, I'm always like, any final words? Just, I want to make sure in case he does take her out that I got her last words in. But
what do they do to your kids there? I've always wondered that because you do the whole family. What do they do?
Same thing.
Same witchcraft.
Same thing. Same witchcraft.
Yeah.
Dude, he gets some cracking, crunching.
Really? The little kids.
And they play chiropractor at the house. That's what we have to watch.
Okay, that could be dangerous.
That's dangerous, where you're sitting there and they're just wanting to play. Next thing you know, you get one that comes up behind and wants to twist on your neck, and we're like, yeah, that's...
Some of these moves, I feel like you could really jack someone up if you didn't know what you're doing. My grandma used to do it to us. Her fame to claim was one time she gave a massage to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know if it's true, but that's what she told us, that she used to be a masseuse. But so she would come over.
So she'd crack even though massage therapists don't crack.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's a little crazy.
That's witchcraft.
Yeah. So apparently she bought a tablet. She's been disconnected from the world, but she bought a tablet. She might be online. So Grandma, if you're watching, welcome aboard.
Is she over in England?
No, this is my grandma lives in Florida. My dad's mom.
Okay.
Yeah, but she used to come over. They'd visit, once, twice a year, something like that. But then, I remember sitting on the floor, and she would sit on the couch, rub my shoulders, felt so good, and then she'd just take my neck and.
Wow.
But yeah,
she knew what she was doing.
She did. I don't know where she learned it or whatever, but my sister Rebecca will probably remember that and remember that story. So Rebecca, you have to let us know. My sister is our number one fan. So I was talking to her today.
Nice.
So she's like, I don't know what you could have done to the second podcast to make it any better. So it's good to see some positive feedback. We've got some
positive. We've had a little bit of negative criticism.
Which is fine. We're still getting it together.
I think there's someone that was kind of giving you a hard time due to your diabetic status. We will leave that listener unnamed.
Yeah, said that I looked like I was like in a diabetic coma or had glaucoma or something. So I'm trying to look a little more alive. I had a little caffeine before we started, and
you should be boosted.
Yeah, and I was in Florida last week, got some sun, so hopefully I look more radiant and I don't look like
you have a glow about you today.
Thank you.
You do.
It feels good. It felt so good sitting in the sun. Before we move on to Florida, I was going to ask something else or say something else, but I forget. Was it about glaucoma? I don't think so. Your wife, maybe? I forget. Oh, my sister. Oh, so I was talking to my sister today, and she had this idea. So listeners, if you're listening, send, and you enjoy the podcast. So let's say you're listening and you're like, it's decent, right? It's a
3 out of 10. If my wife tells me that restaurant, and I said, hey, how is your coffee? How is your food? It was decent. I know it's a 3 out of 10. Don't ever go back. Don't ever go back. If you feel about the podcast.
No. Hopefully you enjoy the podcast.
Oh,
if you've gotten this far into it and you don't enjoy it, like, what are you doing? Stop listening. There's so many other better things out there. But if you're sitting here and you're like, you know what, it's kind of decent. Like, I could listen to these guys more, and it's good, clean stuff. It's funny. It's
maybe we're helping put your babies to sleep at night.
Yeah,
we could be doing that for some mothers.
We don't know. We don't know what you're going through, and maybe maybe you're having the worst day. I've been there. And sometimes you just need to laugh. So
yeah, sit back, fill up the bathtub, and just turn us on.
Wow. No. Let's not do any of that. Instead, what you can do is right now send the podcast to someone else that you think would think it's funny. Maybe someone that has the same kind of sense of humor as you. Like my sister said, she sent it to her friend. Give her a shout out, Ashley. How you doing? And she said that she enjoyed it as well. So it's
really,
find somebody and send it out.
Dude, I was shocked at how many views on YouTube we had. I was kind of surprised. I'm like, wow.
60 really isn't a lot. Like
I was thinking like 6, 7, 8. Because I didn't tell a single person.
I told some people.
I know, but still.
But yeah, you need to get
a good
Mariah to pump it up.
Yeah,
Mariah, if you're listening.
Yeah, she's got a following out there on YouTube. Yeah. We got to just tap into that following. It's moms and bloggers, vloggers. Yeah, she's in the know.
Yeah, so anyways, send it to someone if you found it enjoyable in the past, or if when you get to the end of the episode, you're like, you know what, that wasn't bad. I know someone that probably think this is fun. Send it on.
It's decent.
So, yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I don't know with you, but with me, like, I drive a lot. And it's nice just to turn something on sometimes where it's like, as much as I like growth-minded things or spiritual things or whatever, it's sometimes nice just to turn something on and be able to laugh and just be like, I can let my guard down with this and I can just roll.
Yeah, so, let your hair down.
Have you listened to the podcast yourself? Have you listened?
I have not. Not yet.
But it's your podcast.
I know.
And you haven't listened to an episode?
Listened to it yet.
That's crazy to me. Maybe it's because I'm the one doing the editing and stuff that I want to listen to it.
Yeah, I think I probably will. I feel like I want to wait till maybe like 50 or 100 episodes in. And then I feel like, okay, I want to go back.
That's a whole year.
Yeah. Like a year later. Look back.
Okay, I could see that.
Because I also know, like, it's easy to critique it early on, and I want to just listen for enjoyment. And I think it would be fun. I could go back knowing in a year we've gotten better, hopefully. And that, okay, I want to go back and listen to stories just to laugh.
Yeah.
Because we're going to keep building on it.
Yeah. And just for you guys that are watching too, like, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for sending it to your friends. Like, we feel like we should have done this a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
So long ago. But another thing, too, is, like, we're doing it to share with other people, sure. But the main reason we're doing it is kind of for ourselves.
Oh, yeah. That selfish reasons.
Establish time, spend time together every week. And, like, my kids love it. You know, I'll pick them up. I pick them up on Fridays, and they'll be like, can we listen to a podcast? And my daughter's like, I don't want to listen. My boys are like, can we listen to a podcast, Dad? So I'm like, Ella, play your tablet. All right, guys, let's turn it on. They
probably love all the crazy stories.
Yeah, they do. And they're like, do you tell any stories about Grandpa? Because they always find those stories so fascinating.
Dude, they're fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll never forget, and that's where I'm thankful I got to know your dad for a little while. But the story about when you blew your head gasket in the Malibu. And he just stayed up with you all night and just watched?
Yeah, it was 24 hours. We worked on this car for 24 hours. I blew the head gasket going to pick up Andrew Mitchell for a sleepover. Because I felt like I was like, I want to help this kid.
Is Mitchell out there listening?
I don't know. I'm going to post it on Facebook.
Okay. Get it out to Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell, if you're listening, what's up? But
We'll get John here one day.
Yeah, Mitchell was in the youth group, and I was like, he's younger than me. He's a little younger than my sister, I think.
We want him to tell a story about trying to run you over in a Fisher Foods, Food for Less parking lot.
He had no idea what he was getting into.
No idea.
Yeah.
Dr. B could have told him.
Yeah.
Don't run into
He
this
knows
guy.
best. Dr. B knows best.
He's got 8 claw.
Yeah. And he's like a silverback. But yeah, and I wanted to help. Like, I was just like, I want to hang out with Mitchell and like have him sleep over. That'd be really good. So I'm like driving out to Canton to pick him up. I didn't have any coolant in my car. Just kept driving. Didn't even pay attention to the gauge. My dad used to say, if you're in the red, you're dead, with the heat gauge. And so I'm on the side of the highway. He's like, put some water in it, whatever you got. And he's like, see if you can get it home. But he probably blew a head gasket. Sure enough, blew a head gasket. We knew a guy that owned a welding shop, and so we removed the head gasket and like welded something together for us. And then my dad like made a point, like he sat there and he said, you should have had coolant in your car. And I was like, I know. And he's like, you're doing all the work. I'll tell you what to do. And so he sat there and told me, like, take this bolt off and do this and do that. You need this tool and that tool. And it took so much longer, but he stayed up with me 24 hours to get it fixed. And then I told that story last week.
You had a patient dad.
Yeah, at times he was patient.
I think he wanted to teach you a hard lesson.
Yeah. But then 3 months later, car was totaled. So
yeah,
what was the point?
Yeah.
That's what he kind of said too.
I think you shared that in the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to disclose names, but could you share, would it be appropriate to share the story about your dad finding, was it cigarettes or was it chew?
Yeah, so my dad had a rule.
That's one of my all-time favorite stories.
Yeah. So I have a sibling. It's my sister. No, I'm just kidding. But
our number one fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my dad had a rule that he told us. A couple of different rules. He said, if you ever come home with an earring, I'm going to rip it out of your ear. I know that wouldn't fly today in 2024 with all these soft Gen Zers wearing capri pants around, but in 2006, that was the rule. You come home with an earring, I'm pulling it out of your ear. And then he had another rule. If I find cigarettes or chewing tobacco, I'm going to make you eat the whole pack. And I'm just like, well, first of all, like, I didn't have a desire to do that. Right? Yeah. So it didn't even faze me. Like, it didn't mean anything to me because I'm like, I would never do that anyways. Yeah.
Dude, and you've smelled a cigarette before.
Yeah.
I mean, unsmoked, when my grandparents used to smoke, dude, they smell terrible.
What does smell kind of good, going back to my City of Massillon street roots, is the Black and Mild. Let's be honest.
Black and Mild
it's like a sweet cigar.
Okay.
So
Grandpa smoked a pipe and it had vanilla tobacco. That did smell good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was never tempted to do it, but I had a sibling who left it
test dad
on the shelf. Like, there was a shelf right underneath the window, and so when my dad walked by the room on the outside of the house, he saw 3 cans of chewing tobacco, wintergreen, whatever, sitting there. And so he took the 3 cans, because he is a man of his word, and he emptied them on a plate, and he handed a spoon to this member of my family.
Did he like tell him what was going down? Like, did he say you're going to
called him up for breakfast?
Oh, he called him up for breakfast. So family member doesn't know that dad's got my
no idea.
No idea.
Calls him
excited,
up for breakfast,
thinking like we're getting waffles,
got pancakes and syrup.
Dad's cooking
fruit salad. Yummy,
it's gonna
yummy.
Be good.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Wiggles.
I love the Wiggles. They're so good. Look up, what's the song? What's the song?
Wiggle, wiggle.
No, there's a song.
Fruit salad.
No, it's not. That's not the song I'm thinking of. Let me find it real quick. My daughter's obsessed with this song.
Wiggles.
This is such a catchy tune. Let me play it real quick, and then I'll get back into the story of my...
Dude, this is probably the first time on a podcast someone's going to hear the Wiggles.
Would you like to be even...
Wiggles!
It's great, isn't it?
There
Such good singers.
was a bug, a rattling bug. He was a rare bug.
Never heard
He was
this
a rattling
one.
Bug. And the bug down in the valley, yo.
Dude, they're good.
Catchy, man. Catchy.
Dude, they're amazing.
And look at this guy dancing. I'll show you this.
I mean, you talk about good stamina.
Like this guy. The guy in the green. So, listeners, it's if you just search Wiggles Bog, B-O-G, this guy in the green.
Dude, he's impressive.
But he starts doing like backflips and stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's
Dude,
a
have you
catchy
ever
song.
looked up the amount of money that they make?
No, is it insane?
They make some really good money. I'm like, if you're talented and you can do that for a living,
And you just
more
sing to
power
kids
to
and
you.
you eat fruit salad and sing songs about bananas.
Yeah,
And it's just like the kids love it.
love it.
Love it.
Dude, our kids, yeah, they love that. And Rowan's been saying lately, he's calling it the, he's like, can we listen to the sweet potatoes? And I was like, the sweet potatoes? It's the Veggie Tales.
Oh,
Dude, Veggie Tales.
Veggie Tales classic.
That's throwback 2006.
No, that's throwback 98.
Is it?
Oh yeah. I remember
know.
I remember
It's like
they would
early
do
2000s.
these. They had, I think they did like conferences or maybe like work day or something at the church I grew up at, and they would roll in this TV on a cart with VHS Veggie Tales playing for the kids, and there'd be like someone watching all the kids, and the kids are all just glued to Veggie Tales.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's just all very. What's funny is we were at my grandparents' house, I think last week. I bet Grandma and Grandpa Steiner would love this podcast, by the way.
You should share.
I
Do they
need to
have
get-
the internet and stuff?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hook
I
'em
think
up.
maybe I'll download Spotify for him and she can
Yeah.
listen, because Grandma always. You've been over there. You've had my grandma rolling several times with your stories. Grandpa was actually just talking about you. But they have some DVDs. Grandpa's got all these World War II and old Western DVDs. And Sophia was like, Dad, what is that? And I was like, that's a DVD. And she's like, what's it for? And I'm like,
Yeah.
of course you wouldn't know.
It's crazy.
You wouldn't even know. So you talking about like a VHS rolling that out on a cart?
Yeah.
That's old school.
Yeah. You'd blow some people's minds if you're doing
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out when we started this. It's 10:30 right now. We film these on Monday nights, guys.
Yeah, so back to
Okay, so yes.
breakfast. Get up here.
Yep.
Breakfast
so
is
there's 3
ready.
cans of wintergreen chew, and all 3 cans get eaten with a spoon. And there's gagging going on. It was pretty messed up, but it was just like,
Who was everybody at
This
the
is the rule.
table?
I was there. Like, yeah, we were just. I don't think everyone sat down to eat, but I just remember like looking across the table, thinking like, this is probably is not happening in any other house in America right now. There's no way like anyone's sitting down just like, that's a wintergreen chew for breakfast. But yeah, I'm just like, wow. And the crazy thing is like, I was thinking like, you'll never want to do that again, but that wasn't the case. I was like, dude, how do you
No
want to
way.
continue to do that? So that blows my mind. Like people that'll go out and get drunk and stuff, and like they'll get sick, and then it's like, what enjoyment is that? And then like
Throw up and headaches.
yeah, when you
Yeah.
do eat 3 cans of chew for breakfast, like you're not enjoying. No one's
Dude,
done that.
I
Like,
can't even imagine. I've heard
Yeah.
of people making their kids smoke like all the cigarettes that they found and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But
Yeah, that's a wild one. I don't know. I don't know if I would do it, but that's what went down. So, and you didn't want to not do it.
yeah,
So, not that I had an abusive dad, but it was just like you knew like he's serious about the rules right now.
Yeah.
Like we're not messing around.
yep,
It's time
yep,
for breakfast.
yeah.
So, it
Come on up,
was fine.
dude. He could have thrown in a little bit of maple syrup on it, dress it up,
Yeah, but he didn't. It's just
just-
straight up.
straight wintergreen.
Yeah.
Dude, my mom, one of the highlight stories of my childhood would have been, I've got an older brother and a younger brother. We're all pretty close in age together. Well, we were homeschooled, and we were probably, I want to say I was probably like 11 or 12, old enough to know. And so mom said, hey, you guys need to eat breakfast before you go outside to rake leaves. Because it's the fall, and we would do
Clean up
sometimes-
the yard.
We'd clean up the yard. She'd typically have us get some energy out, come in, do some school, get a little more energy out, come back in, finish up for the day. So it was nice having a blended schedule. And she told us, she's like, stop fooling around. You're going to miss breakfast. Of course, we keep fooling around. You know how boys do. Finally, she's like, get outside. And of course, as a 10, 11, 12-year-old, and I was pretty husky. Food was my life, and it was
Hard to believe.
hard to believe. But she's like, get outside, no breakfast. And of course, we're crying abuse. This is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
You're so mean. I'm running away. Like all these mean things to mom. Knowing though, if we cross the line, like it's not going to bode well for us. We're going to get inside and we're going to get some discipline.
And was it usually mom disciplining you?
Oh, my mom was the one we were scared of. Mom would bring the fear of God into your life.
That was opposite for us. My mom would sit at the table with a fiberglass tent pole that would go into like the tent to like put it there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're all strung together.
Oh yeah.
And she'd sit there with one of those and we'd be just like messing around. She'd be like, but it just like, that hurt, but it like didn't phase us. But when you made my dad mad, it was like, oh no, this is not going to end
opposite well. For me. One time my brothers and I, we came out after my dad disciplined us. We're laughing and my mom's like, get back in there. I'm going to show you how this is done. These boys should never come out laughing. And she literally trained my dad on how we needed to be disciplined. We came out wailing. And then we knew, okay, if dad gets a hold of us, we need to at least fake cry because we got to get out of this because otherwise mom's coming in. It's a double dose.
Wasn't there a story about your brother Josiah putting thumbtacks under a carpet?
Dude, we need to have him on the pod one night.
Bring him on.
Dude, the stories, some of the stuff is funny because I was unaware of it. Like, I didn't know everything that happened because he had his own bedroom. It was like a 5x7 closet. He's 2 years younger.
Wait,
but for a period of time.
He slept in a 5x7 closet?
Well, he didn't want to be there as a big bedroom, like a 20-something by 16 or 18, all of us boys were in, 3 boys. He wanted his own space. So the only room we had was off the toy room, and it was above the first floor bathroom, and it was literally like a closet. I mean, there was a door walking out to nothing. There was one window. There was like the old press board. The ceiling was caving in. One time we had a raccoon reaching its foot through there. Dude, it was nuts. Anyways, he's in there. He was in his own island, and he was dealing with some, I think, issues of life. And, he did some pretty crazy stuff. So, we'll have Josiah. Josiah, we'll have you on one day.
Does he listen? You didn't
I bet he will. I bet he will. We'll get him on. So, anyways, so back to the story. We go outside. Of course, we're out there mumbling, complaining, groaning, and, it's raining. We're raking leaves in the rain, which is the worst thing ever. And now I know why my mom did this. She's building character, perseverance, all these things in us. So she sent my sister Jessica outside. Now we were poor and we were also cheap, but probably cheap because we were poor.
Makes sense.
And it was a giant brown Tupperware. I can just still see it. And my mom would make homemade granola, which was actually really good. And she sent my sister out with 3 bowls, 3 spoons, a gallon of skim milk, because we were into skim milk back then, watered down skim milk.
It's crazy.
Which is nuts. And granola. And she's like, and I remember my mom yelling out of the side door, if you guys are hungry, you can eat breakfast outside. That was it. In the rain, pouring down rain, November.
But there was food in there.
There was food. Oh, yeah. But we're sitting in that. And I'll never forget because whenever she said, kind of like your dad, you knew they were serious.
Yeah.
And it was like, don't cross mom up.
Yeah.
She'll mess with you.
Yeah.
So
it's surprising that she was so tough but stocked the fridge with skim milk. So viewers, if you're listening and you drink skim milk, just turn off the podcast. We don't really need you here.
Don't need you.
If your cap's not blue or red, go.
Just go, dude.
Don't tell your friends.
Going to my grandma and grandpa's house, that was the highlight because there was 2% milk. And I'm like, and my mom was watering down skim milk.
Oh, no.
Dude, there were stories. Yeah,
because if you added water to whole milk, then you could get skim milk. Like, I've heard of people doing that, and that's still messed up. But it's still messed up.
Skim milk is terrible. I've not had it in my adult life.
Yeah.
Here, unless I was unaware of it being in something.
My friend Tony has a brother, an older brother, and he is super cheap. And he was trying to tell me all these life hacks at one point, and I was like totally into it. But that was one of his things, was like, get whole milk, but find it on sale. You can freeze it. And he said you can empty half the gallon into a pitcher and add water to the rest of the gallon. And it was just like crazy, of like, make your own skim milk. And then he was like, you can make your own loaves of bread. And so I started to get into that. Like, I was like, okay, well, like, I'm going to buy flour. I'm going to do this because a loaf of bread costs, he like had the math down of like, it costs $1.25 for a loaf of bread, but you can make a loaf of bread for 50 cents and you can make blah, blah, blah. And like, for like a few weeks, I was into it. And, yeah, I just like, this isn't
It was
for
a good
me.
thing you fell off that train. Was that the only time that you had that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got into making bread when I was vegan for a while. I made pita bread all the time.
Dude, I'll never forget the day you told me you were vegan.
We were looking at
I
a
thought we were
house.
going to get
Remember
raptured
that?
out. Yeah, because I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Son of Gene Richardson, a vegan.
Yeah. So my dad was an epic deer hunter, for those of you that didn't know him. But
was he alive when you went vegan?
I don't think so. I was
going to say, if he was, I would have loved
It was when we were
known.
shopping for this house that we're in now. So that would have been 5 or 6 years ago. And he's been dead for, I think, 8 years now. But so, yeah, basically what happened, viewers, is I stayed up late and watched a Netflix documentary by myself. I was sitting at the edge of the bed, and they're like, meat is bad for you. Meat causes disease. And I was like, yeah, get rid of the meat. So,
dude, this is how cults happen. You realize this, right? They reach people in a lonely spot at night.
Yeah, I was all alone. The glow of the TV hitting my face. But I bought into it. I did it for 3 months. I lost 25 pounds, so that was the good thing.
Come to Waco, Texas.
Yeah, drink the Kool-Aid. But I don't know. I ate a lot of vegetables. And I think that's what it was like, it wasn't only that I was eating like the vegan food, but I also cut out a lot of junk food because so much of it had meat or had eggs in it, eggs and milk. So when you're vegan, you can't have that.
Even skim milk?
You can't have skim milk because
really?
Yeah, there's milk in it. It's dairy product. You can have almond milk. So I would do almond milk with like a cereal or something. But all that stuff has low calories and all that junk, right? But I did eat Oreos every night. I ate 6 double stuffed Oreos every night. 6.
Maybe I should become vegan.
I'm obese.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah,
I did, but yeah, I lost 25. So because I was like 275 at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
So really, any message coming across the screen at nighttime was speaking to you.
Yeah, because
if it was like
grossly unhealthy.
Yeah.
So yeah, vegan. But I'm the kind of person that talks people into things. So I was working at FedEx at the time, and I'm like talking to I had people at church converted to veganism. I had people I worked with. Like there was this lady, she converted to veganism because of my influence. And then when I left the company, like 3 or 4 years later, I was like, hey, seriously, no hard feelings about the veganism, because she was still vegan at that time.
No.
Yeah. And she's like, I love it. I'm healthier now than I've ever been. It's been great for my family. I lost all this weight. I was like, good for you. Just want to make sure there's no hard feelings. Because like I pretty much sold it. I think that's when I knew that I could do sales.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, you've always been a natural at that.
When I get excited about it,
yeah, you're passionate. You're all in.
Yeah,
balls to the wall.
That's the phrase. We might have some children listening, so yes, that's the phrase. All in, like you get really excited about it. It's a pro and a con, because when you're out, you're totally out.
You're out. Yeah.
It's just like either I'm having a salad or I'm having a chocolate cake for dinner. Like those are my options.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we got to figure this out. I'm 33. I got to figure it out.
So I was thinking about this when you were talking about the oddities about you. There's a term for it. My wife and I were watching, so she sometimes will go down these rabbit holes of all these different medical things on YouTube. They're just like fascinating. Like it could be like, these splinters that people are pulling out, or it could be like, it looks like a zit and it ends up being like they've got maggots in their leg or something. And I thought of you because you need to tell the story to the people. But there's an actual medical term, and maybe was it Megan is our medical doctor?
Yeah, on
Okay.
staff physician.
On staff physician, or Brian witchcraft doctor on
more
staff.
for witchcraft type things.
Yeah.
Healings.
But it's hyper somethingism or hyroidism or something, and it's where women, and I honestly, my heart breaks because I didn't know of this before. I thought the circumstance that you and I experienced was like because of shaving, but women that grow facial hair.
Oh, I know where this is going.
So you need to explain. Just we've talking about different ideas and stuff, and both of us being in sales, meeting people. Of course, we love people. Like that is the best part about sales. You meet great people. I mean, we've both had interactions with people where you're praying with people, you're crying with people, they're crying. You like
laughing, sitting in rocking chairs, telling stories,
everything
crazy. Like you'd never, but people open up to strangers.
Yeah, they do. And then
so you
and I happen to be on this one call together, and you have to explain because you were the lead on this, thankfully.
Yeah, because I was kind of learning the ropes at this point. And we go to the house, we're meeting, doing like a consultation, whatever, for the deck. And it's during COVID. And so the lady has a mask on.
Yep.
Remember this?
Yep, I remember.
And you need to fix my details because I didn't know we were telling this story and I'm a little foggy. So if I'm off,
okay,
fix me up. But it's a blue surgical mask and we had no idea. So we go around the back and I remember exactly what she wanted as far as what she wanted us to build and stuff. And so we go around the back, talk about it. I think she's standing on the back porch at the time. We're out in the yard, kind of walking it off, figuring out what she wants. And we go in the house and we go get the laptop out of the car and stuff. We go in the house.
And before we go into the house, we get the laptop. She comes to the door because that's when we first saw it.
Yeah.
We were 15, 20 feet away.
Yeah. Solid, wispy.
Goatee.
Yeah. Full on goatee on a lady. And it was just like...
Because she pulled the mask down because she was far enough away from us.
That's true. Yeah. Because people had this weird psychology with masks. Ugh. But anyways, pulled this mask down.
You're a mask listener, go ahead and just unsubscribe.
Drink your skim milk and go home. But pulls the mask down and we just see this wispy beard. I'm just like...
And this is bad when you and I are together because both of us immediately are like, we're in the same mindset.
Like, you gotta be kidding me. It's the same thought process with the orange cat walking across the highway. Like, no way. You gotta be kidding me right now. So it was epic. And yeah, I mean, we were able to keep straight faces and like her husband was there too. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, you have a bigger beard than your husband does.
100%.
And it was sad. And I'm like thinking about him. I'm just like, man.
Whole time, all I'm thinking is like, is he kissing her? Has he ever said something? Like that's all where my mind goes.
Does this come up in conversation?
Surely. Like, hey,
does he get her a razor for Christmas? Like, what's going? Like subtle hints, slipping some nair on while she's asleep.
Something.
Yeah,
dude, something.
I don't know. It was wild.
And we sat at that kitchen table, and it was like this. I mean, it was probably
we were like this,
not too far away.
Yeah.
Now, was he bald too?
Yeah, he was bald.
Okay, because I remember thinking in my mind, like, she has more face around her lips than he does on his head.
More face?
Or more hair around her lips.
Yeah.
More hair around those lips than he did on his head. Yeah.
It was rough, man. Yeah. And like, your heart breaks for people, but at some point you're just like...
Yeah. Yeah, I think in watching this show, I learned it's a real thing and a real problem. There are solutions to it.
Like a razor.
A razor or laser hair removal. You could go a couple different routes, stuff like that. But, I mean, you'd at least need to hot wax and rip it off. Yeah,
it's rough. That actually, so that brings us to our Maslin moment, one of them. Or no, not our Maslin moment, our interesting interaction. We're trying to have some names here for stuff viewers. But I'm in Aldi this week, and this guy, described the guy, he is, I don't know, African-American. He was a little larger, had a hat on, like a leather coat. I don't know. Didn't seem out of place or anything, but he was like, he comes hunching over his cart, and he's like, "Hey,
Comes
man.
up to you?
Hey, man, can I ask you something?" And I was like, "Sure." But like real quick in my mind, like my mind's firing off thoughts like, what is this guy, like, what does he want to ask me? Like sometimes
Were you wearing something that would have given him a reason to come talk to you?
I was wearing a polo and jeans.
Polo and jeans.
No, wait, I wasn't wearing a polo. I was wearing a hoodie and jeans.
Hood up over
No.
your head?
Nope.
Okay.
So I was just walking down the aisle.
Kind of like what you're wearing tonight.
Yeah, basically. Had a cart, pushing the cart. And like sometimes people ask me to get things off the shelf for them. That's a real thing. Like, I don't know. I end up talking to people in the grocery store most of the time I'm there for different reasons. Like, people ask me to get stuff off the shelf for them. That happens all the time.
Do you think they think you work there?
That's happened, but no. Okay. Most of the time, like, it's like a lady that I see like reaching high, and she'll be like, "Excuse me, can you help me get this?" And just because they see that I'm tall, right? But I'll also offer that to people. Like, if I see someone like trying to reach for something, I'll be like, "Let me grab that for you." Like, just try to help out. Just try to be a nice person. And then other times I've gotten in, not necessarily, I guess, conversations. So I was walking down the aisle. This happened several times. Similar interaction. This guy is walking behind this lady, and he's pushing a cart, and he's like, "Can you just move it already?" And I stopped. I just turned. I looked at him, and I said, "Excuse me, sir. You can't talk to her that way." And the lady turned. She goes, "Oh, you are so sweet." She's like, "You were going to defend me. That's my husband." And I was just like, and he just started laughing. They were just joking around or whatever.
Okay, it wasn't serious. Okay,
so they were just joking.
Okay,
and yeah, and she's like, you were gonna stand up for me," and I was like, "Yes, ma'am. We need more men in the world like you." And I was like,
just crying tears and all these.
Thank you. But so I'm getting conversations like that. But this guy stops me and he's like, "Hey, can I ask you something?" And he pulls his head off and he's like, "You go to a barber to get that smooth?" And he's bald too, but he's got like the hair around the edges and stuff, and it's like coming through, and you can see it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "No." He's like, "No. What do? Why do you get that smooth? Use lotion or razor? What kind of razor are you using?" I'm like,
"Oh yeah."
I was like, "Oh no." And like he kept asking. I was like, "That's a disease," because I don't want to tell people that and like make them feel bad,
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I was like, "It's no big deal." I said, "Yeah, but I don't have eyelashes, eyebrows, the whole 9 yards." And he was just like, yeah, I think he felt bad. And so, yeah, that leads me into I'm bald. I have something called alopecia. If we want to talk about that, we can, but I was going to get led into the Maslin moment. That same gentleman had a carton of eggs in his cart. We're at the Maslin Aldi. You know who you are if you're listening, sir. And
Maslin Aldi, the newer one?
The newer one.
Okay.
The newer one.
Do you like that one better than the one down by Menards?
No. People there are better in Menards.
Oh.
By Menards.
All day.
Yeah, Navarre.
I've been sketched out a few times at that
Country
new
folks, Amish people.
Yep.
That's my vibe.
Salt of the earth. You
like
go to
those
Southern
people.
one, dude, I've seen some interesting things at that one.
Yeah, sketchy situation.
Yes.
So I'm there, and I'm standing in line. I've offloaded my stuff. He's using a self-checkout, drops the carton of eggs on the ground, broken eggs, and he's like, turns to the kid. He picks up the eggs, and he turns to the kid. He's like, "Excuse me, young man, I need to get some more eggs. And you want to take these?" And the kid just like looks at him, and then he takes them and like sets them down. And the guy just walks back, gets more eggs, puts them in his cart, and And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's messed up. Like, dude, you dropped those eggs. No one made you drop those eggs. You dropped the eggs, and then you're just like, "I need to get some more eggs." It's like, no, you dropped the eggs. Pay for the eggs you dropped, and if you want to get more eggs, then get more eggs.
Pay for.
We're talking about like $1.50 a dozen here, or whatever it is. Like, this isn't a huge commitment, right? It's not like you accidentally bumped into a wine shelf and knocked down expensive bottles of wine. No, you dropped a carton of eggs, right? Am I wrong in thinking that? Is this a moral dilemma?
No, I don't think so.
I just couldn't believe it.
I think one time we had some berries spill out in our cart, and the lady at the register said, "Don't worry about it. Just go get another thing. This happens. No big deal." And I felt like, okay, I didn't go and just offer this as the solution. She said, "Hey, it's fine. Go get it."
Yeah.
So
And
I felt right with that.
Yeah. I've done it. I've had things happen before. Like I get this iced coffee that I like. It's called Stoke iced coffee, STOK. So I know we have.
Sponsor?
Yes, they are. So
Yeah,
when
let
you're at the
people know
checkout
how-
at Walmart or Aldi, mention our podcast and you'll get 10 cents off your first bottle. But anyway, so I was at Aldi and I dropped that on the lid and the lid busted. No coffee came out because it's sealed with foil. And I was with my kids. And then the lady at the register was just
How do you
like,
break a lid?
I dropped it. I dropped it. The lid is plastic. And so I dropped it and the plastic lid broke and like cracked in half and then split off. I don't know.
These are the things that happen to you.
I know. And so I was like,
Oddities.
I told I dropped it right there by the register when we were loading stuff up on the belt. And the lady was like, do you want to get another one or whatever? I was like, no, I dropped it. She's like, well, I know, but do you want to get another? And I was like, no, like I made the mistake. And so it's not right for you guys to suffer for my mistake. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like,
We'll be fine without
load it up. And like I explained that to the kids later, like, hey, when we make a mistake, like we have to deal with our mistake.
Yeah.
And I tried to use it as like a teaching thing with them, but it's like that's the reality. Like you have to face the facts, whatever.
Face the facts.
But this guy just
the scale says you're
shame.
275.
Stay up late and watch Netflix. That's all you can do sometimes. And sometimes yeah. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's an interesting character that you met out there.
Yeah. Between like confronting me on my baldness and who I go to get my hair cut, which I don't have hair, and then dropping the eggs and just rolling with it, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. But
dude, that's just crazy. So you need to explain, for people that don't know, and honestly, until I met you and Charlie Villanueva, never met him, but pretty modest basketball player. He was well known.
yeah, back in the day, Milwaukee Bucks, Dallas.
Maybe one or two All-Star games, maybe, or something like that. But
I don't know. I had his jersey.
You guys were the only two people I knew that had alopecia. So you need to explain, like, obviously people know what it is. There's no body hair.
Yeah, so it's a cosmetic.
So let them know, like, when it started.
Sure. It's a cosmetic disease. It is.
Do you think you could get like reparations for that, with it being cosmetic and having
2024? I think there's reparations for anything.
You could just be like, claim I've got mental illness as a result.
You probably could try to claim something, but so it's a what is it called?
Hyperthyroid?
No, autoimmune. It's an autoimmune disease. So I have type 1 diabetes. I got that when I was 7 years old. So basically what happens is your immune system is working, but it's attacking the wrong things. And so my immune system says, your pancreas is the enemy. Newsflash, you need a pancreas to stay alive. But my body says, we don't want a pancreas. So it's terrible. I hate that. Yeah, and then usually when you get one autoimmune disorder, you end up with another one. And so I have two. I think the hypothyroid thing is some kind of autoimmune thing as well. So potentially three. But so that happened, diabetes when I was 7. And then this started when I was about 11 years old in like the 5th grade. I think, the story I tell, and I think what I remember is my brother and I were fighting and like pulled hair out and stuff like that when we were fighting. But I just remember getting these bald patches all over my head, like little ones, like the size of a penny or dime, just like little bald patches.
Dude, was it hard when you're brushing your teeth and you're looking in the mirror and you're just seeing these bald spots?
Yeah, it messes with you. Like it messed with me when I was a kid. And so, I had a real big patch in the back. That was the first one we noticed. It was probably, 50-cent piece, big around. And so, you Gen Zers, you don't know what that is. Have a credit card, okay? But big around on the back of my head. And so, but the thing is like, my mom wanted to like hang on to this. And so every night I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but every night I would lay down on the couch, face down onto the couch like you're getting your neck cracked at the chiropractor. And she would drip Rogaine on my bald patches. Every one of my bald patches would
Dude,
get
what
like
a good mom.
3 drops of Rogaine. But we were also cheap, so it was the Equate Walmart Rogaine.
It's pretty much like skim milk on your head.
Might as well put skim milk on there.
Yeah.
So I had that happen, and then she did buy me like this nice thickening shampoo to try to thicken it up. And then every morning before school, I remember this particularly in 7th grade because that was my last year with hair. She like grew my hair out, which was weird. Now that I look back at pictures,
was
it was
like
weird
Donald
looking.
Trump-esque?
Basically, I had a very big head of hair, and I said, "Wow, that's a big head of hair." But so anyways,
Unbelievable.
I would wake up early or whatever, and then she would comb over the big bald patches.
Is Tony a listener?
I don't think so. She needs to be.
She needs to be. Tony, you're a gem for doing that.
Yeah. So thanks, Mom. Like, I appreciate it. But she combed over the bald patches and then would hairspray in place. So I looked like I was wearing a freaking helmet. And that's what I went to school with every day in the 7th grade. And my dad was like, "You got a girlfriend?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "You're not gay, are you?" And I wanted to say, "No, but I wear a helmet to school." It's like, what the heck? So, anyways.
Oh, no. Okay. So, would it be possible, is there anybody that would remember you from 7th grade?
Yeah.
That could like...
Andy.
Oh, does he remember what your hair looked like?
He remembers that.
Dude, we
talked about it recently.
Oh, I would love to hear just like from another 7th grader's perspective. Now, Andy's a really great guy.
He probably didn't know exactly what was going on.
I want to know if, like, the bad kids in school, the ones that were making fun of everyone.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from their perspective. Now, they're probably in jail today, but, what they thought of you, the 7th grader. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's like the worst time of life.
It was rough.
Were you heavy, too?
Yeah, I've always been kind of
heavy in a helmet.
Heavy helmet boy. And then so, like...
Hey, raise your hand if you have a question.
8 Claw, back in the back with the helmet on. What do you got to say, son? Yeah, it was just absolutely ridiculous. But, you get dealt cards, and you play the cards you've been dealt. But I can see how God, like, there's a Bible verse that says, God works all things together for good. But I can legitimately see that. Like, Today, I am who I am because of some of the things I went through.
You couldn't stay in a shell.
No, I had no option. Right? So first day of 8th grade, I'm wearing a freaking, I don't know why I did this to myself, a pink t-shirt, and I'm totally bald. But because of my skin tone, it looked like I had no shirt on at all. So I looked like a naked mole rat. And I only remember this because the principal called me up and was talking about how you should dress to school, and he called me up. He's like, "This is a good example right here. Justice, come up here." And like, see, shorts are to his knee, and he's got a nice T-shirt on, and like, I'm just like,
do you think he knew that he needed to do that to give you like confidence and like brag on you?
I don't know. The same principal, Worsler was his name. My senior year, came up to me at a pep rally, and he's like, "This pep rally's dead, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he hands me the microphone, and he says, "You got 4 weeks to turn these around, or we're going to cancel them the rest of the year." And so then I went out, and I was in charge of MC, hyping up people.
No.
Yeah. And
that's your calling.
I know. It's great. And
dude.
Yeah, it was a good time. But, yeah, so. But
shout out to your principal.
Warsaw. I think he's retired now. I saw him at like a Walmart not long ago. But anyways, yeah, so another scarring thing was that same summer I went to camp.
So that's 7th grade year.
Yeah, in between 7th and 8th grade.
Give us a description where you, like, your height now, like 6'2", or...
No. I graduated high school, I was like 5'10".
So you've grown a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a result of the ape genetics.
Yeah, the Silverback genetics. And so, yeah, what was I going to say? So that summer I was going to go to camp, and my dad, I think his heart was in the right place. That's what I'll say. His heart was in the right place. Took me to a wig store in Canton, And I remember sitting in this chair, and this old lady is fitting me. There's like all these wigs on mannequins. She gets this wig, matches it to my hair color, and starts cutting the hair on the wig to match like my helmet hairstyle that I had.
No.
And so my dad drops hundreds of dollars on this wig, and I end up wearing it to camp, just to chapel services, because the rest of the day I wore like a bucket style hat and like tied a string here. That way no one could pull it off to see that I had bald spots. And then for chapel, I kept this wig wrapped in a towel under my bed. Listeners, wipe your eyes. You don't need to cry. It's okay. But I kept this wig wrapped in a towel under my bed, and I would run to the room 5 minutes after chapel started, and I would put it on. That way no one else was there. Everyone was in the service. I'd put the wig on, put a couple bobby pins to like tie it down to my hair, and I'd go to chapel. And it was so unnatural looking. And
do you have that wig?
I did. The kids were playing with it in the yard, and they left it outside, and it got all wet and nasty.
Dude, I would love to see that.
I have a picture of me with it on.
Okay.
So, yeah,
maybe that could be the thumbnail on our episode.
I don't know how to put that out there. We'll see. Stand by, viewers. Stand by.
Dude,
so,
that's rough.
It was good for me. I look back now, and I guess that's the thing, too. Like, I'm telling you stuff even before the podcast. I won't get into everything, but I'm just kind of like, in this stage of my life, I'm like, man, I'm having such a hard time trusting the Lord. But he's taken bad hands before and made them great.
Yeah.
He's done it.
Yeah.
For me in particular. And so it's like, why do I have a problem?
Now, you're not talking about your physical hands.
He's taking bad 8 claws. So if you're on Spotify, just go to YouTube, see the video for a second.
Okay, so 7th grade year then. So, dude, that's a heartbreaking story. So chapel's going on, and then what happened from there to get to where you're at now?
Yeah, so
because you got a good head for it too. That's the other thing that God, at least he didn't give you like, I feel bad sometimes because I don't have hair either. I just wear this because it's cold. Summertime, I'll be getting a little bit of sun on the dome. But I feel bad for people that lose their hair and they've got just a lot of things. I'm like, man, that stinks.
It's rough.
Your head looks good though.
So I'll tell about that, but I also want to address those of you that are in the audience that are just hanging on. You're combing your hair over. It's way too thin. Look.
You know that.
Face the facts. I had to do it when I was 12.
When you were 12.
You can do it today. You didn't do it yesterday. The next best time is right now.
I think you've inspired a few.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Josh.
Yeah, that
100%.
was. Oh, Josh, I know you're listening. It was wild. But. Yeah,
wispy.
You're trying to hang on too long and like comb this thing over. You're not fooling anyone, and you're hurting yourself. You're hurting your self-esteem. You have to wake up every morning and face that man with a comb over, and that's not who you want to be.
No, okay? Not one bit.
Yeah, if you're a lady, I get it. I understand.
Yeah,
I'm not against wigs, whatever.
Yeah, females, it's a different game.
It's great, all good for you. But for us men, it's like, look, guys, we gotta cut the cord.
Yeah.
So
recently my brother did.
Which brother?
Jordan.
Oh yeah,
He's needed to.
I saw that.
He needed to do that. He faced the facts and it looks good. I told him, I said,
yeah,
dude, it looks nice.
I actually noticed that in Florida because he had his hat off a couple times. So yeah. So to finish this story up here, we were gonna go on vacation. We were gonna go on vacation to Canada. And so we were there on vacation. We were going to stay for 2 weeks on a lake fishing. We had a boat. And my dad said, let's just shave your head now because we've got to do this. At some point, you got to do it. And he said, at least now you'll be able to get a tan and you won't look weird when you go back to school. Like you won't be all white and pasty. That was his idea, right? And so I was like, okay, let's do it. And so what had happened was we were about halfway through shaving my head. And the clip, you've heard this before, the clippers jammed. What are the chances? And so my dad...
The hair that's falling out, jam up the clippers.
And my mom is outside the bathroom door weeping. Like I'm dead.
Okay, let me ask the question. 2 thoughts. Is she weeping because, one, this is it? Or is she weeping because she no longer gets to, like, drop the Rogaine and spray paste?
And, like, make a helmet every morning?
Helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, because your mom has a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
She married your dad.
So yeah, she was crying because it's like, this is my 12-year-old son, and this is like super traumatic, right? Obviously. And there was some sympathy there from my dad. I'm not going to deny it, because you get diabetes at 7, you lose all your hair when you're 12. Like, at some point, you just start thinking, like, man, that's rough on this kid, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, the Clippers jam halfway through. So I'm standing, my dad leaves the bathroom, and I lock the door so he can't get back in. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I just thought, you're never going to get married. That's what I thought to myself at 12 years old. Like, look at myself. I look like Two-Face from Batman, but it was just my head.
So one side's like
doomed.
spotted hair, right? Like just patches.
Yeah. And then the other side is completely bald. But I mean,
no razor. So he didn't take a razor, just took
he
like
didn't.
the buzzer and
Yeah,
buzzed it
but
down.
I don't know if like my head got the picture, because I really didn't have to razor it. It just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So I shave once a week now, just because I get peach fuzz.
Some wispies.
And on my
You ever thought about
face.
trying to comb it all the way over?
Yeah. Just really stretch this out.
Highlight it black and just see if you can get like just, I don't know, so they're like trickling up towards the forehead.
Yeah. The sad thing is like Dr. Brian's listening, and he's like, I have some witchcraft medicine that I could drip on there and probably stimulate those hair follicles. I'm not interested. Yeah.
Dude, speaking of hair, we have to give him a shout out. He's got a good head of hair.
I never noticed.
You've never noticed? Oh.
I don't pay attention to hair.
Yeah, just take a look next time.
Yeah.
I'm glad he does. It's holding on strong.
Yeah. I don't really notice hair. I notice eyebrows. Like if someone's got a unibrow, or like ladies that take good care of their eyebrows or something, or like trim them up nice. Like I notice stuff like that.
Well, it's wild because I remember the first time I had met you, and I think we were playing basketball at one point, and you had to always wear the
headband.
Yeah. And I was like, I just thought it was kind of a look, and you're like, no, dude, the sweat will run into my eyes.
Mm-hmm. But then I turned it into a look. I bought one for every color of clothes I had, and
you
just
had
wore
that
them out.
Yeah.
So
maybe you should bring those back.
Oh, I don't think so. I'm 33. I can't do it anymore.
Be the new bring back for the Gen Zers that are listening.
Yeah, maybe we'll see if I play basketball again. So, did you have any Maslin moments?
I was thinking Maslin moments, but maybe we'll hit our top 5.
Okay.
Wrap up the pod because I think we're running close on
good.
time. I think we got a good hour plus. So top 5, if you want to start, but the top 5.
What are we doing again? So I forgot what you said earlier.
Yeah, so it's going to be the top places you visit for service. So of course, I said you can't use your Asian massage parlor, but anything else is fair game. So top 5 and why? Why are they a top 5 place to go?
This is hard.
Is it hard for you?
I should think about it. Top 5 places I go. So I'm in particular looking at the people that are working there.
It could be, maybe you go there because you're like, man, I like the people that work there. Or maybe I love the service that's provided. I mean, my top number 1 that I just immediately think of off the top, in no particular order, would definitely be the BMV. I mean, let's be real. You go there.
Number 1.
And it's like, why are you here? You're disrupting my day. You're a nuisance to life. And what can we do to make your day worse?
Yeah.
That's their goal. And they achieve it.
They're the worst.
But that's why it's one of my top 5.
You got to take a number when you go in.
Take a number. They've gotten a little bit better. I'll give them some credit on that. But I kind of miss when they would kind of just yell the numbers out, because you could hear sometimes they'd yell it out, D63, and then nobody would come up there, and then they would start getting edgy, and
they'd yell it out again, and then they'd move on to D64. D63 comes back in because he was across the street getting money from the ATM because they only took cash. And exactly. I remember those days.
My brother Jarrett's got a phenomenal story about the BMV. During COVID, he had to go in there and renew his license or do something. And he didn't. It was after work. They're getting ready to close. And it was like he had to get in and do something. and they would not let him in. Of course, they didn't have a mask provided. He couldn't pull his shirt over. All he had was a dirty work sock. I kid you not. He put a dirty work sock over his mouth and over his nose, and that worked.
And they were like, "That's better than your actual face. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard."
That mindset.
That's
we don't want to get
that's how you
political,
get
but
my number one
that is
spot for
crazy.
service.
That's crazy. Yeah. Okay.
Number two, while you're thinking,
Okay.
just a Massillon staple if you live here or you've traveled through here.
So I feel like these. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
John George's.
Okay. Yes.
This one,
Love John George's.
everything about him.
Great place.
Some of the same guys that probably worked here from high school. They're in their 30s, maybe some in their 40s.
There's another guy there with alopecia.
Another guy with alopecia. Yep. Kind of looks like Uncle Fester. Similar in facial features.
You might be listening.
You might be a listener. Hey, if you're out there. But yeah, I mean, you got guys, Mo's out there. There's some great people that work there. But you can't beat the sandwiches. You cannot beat the fact that they've got old school TVs playing like The Office, baseball games, movies. Never do you ever see the news. Ever. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't even know if they know what year it is or what's going on.
Yeah, they're just selling sandwiches, cashing checks. I
remember cashing checks.
When I worked at McDonald's before I had a bank account, when I was like 17, I went in there with a check. Yeah. He's like, you got to buy something. If you want me to cash the check for you. It's like for $300. And so I like put a pack of gum up and he grabbed a bag of chips and put it on the counter and rung it up as well. So that way he made some money. But yeah.
Yeah.
Good place.
It's
salt of the
phenomenal.
earth.
Yeah, you can still get the double trouble for like what, $4 on a Sunday?
Yeah.
It's a sub sandwich.
Go get it, guys.
Great.
Head over there.
And if you've never had it, you need to try I think it's called the Judge Elam.
I've had that one.
Have you had it? It's got that spicy cheese. Dude.
Yeah.
That's a winner.
Judge Elam and Massillon staple as well.
John George's number 2, baby.
Okay. So there's a coffee shop by where I work at called Cave. And every time I go in there, it's always great service. So I like that. I like when people are, I don't know, they're nice and they're nice on purpose. And yeah, I like that. Although I have a love-hate relationship with coffee shops in general because, they have everything on their iPad, like they're ringing it up on their iPad. And then they turn it around.
Oh, for a tip.
Yeah. And they're like, just ask you a couple questions. And I'm like, why am I tipping you? What are we doing?
Do you tip?
No. I don't.
Really?
Unless it's really good service. So the last time I was there, I hit the 15% button or whatever it said, or 20% or whatever. And it's like, whatever, $1 or something. But otherwise, like, you're making the coffee. You're an hourly employee.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I tipping? You're not coming and checking on me on the table and offering me a refill. Like, you're making my drink. Mm-hmm. You're taking my order, giving me my drink, and I'm sitting here and doing my work on my computer. Why am I tipping? So I do have a love-hate relationship with that, but this place always has great service. Another one, I'm going to call this out, is the Massillon Lowe's. And only because of this. So when I was doing all these house projects, I remodeled this bedroom over here and the bathroom all within like a month period because I was just in that mindset and a bunch of other stuff. But I was like, I got to get this done. And so I had so many returns because I would buy extra, take stuff back. Like I just had all these returns going on. And Lowe's is close to here. But there was this girl, I think her name was Marissa or Melissa. But she worked in returns, young girl. But she was just
maybe a listener.
Hey.
Welcome aboard, Marissa.
Yeah. But she was just so friendly. Every time I brought these returns back, she's like, "You're back again?" And I was like, "Yeah." And like, so I was like, "I'm Justin." And so then I come back again. She's like, "Hey, Justin, what do you got this time?" Or whatever. And it's just like, it's like something simple, like saying someone's name, or even just like being just funny and like polite and like, just joking around or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. It made it a good experience. So
dude, that's awesome.
There's 2. So that's, we got the BMV.
BMV for, obvious reasons.
We got Johnny J's.
Johnny George's.
Yep, or G's, I guess, Johnny G's.
Johnny
and then,
G's.
The coffee shop, and then the Lowe's, just based on my experience. We'll let you round it off here.
Have you been to the new Chick-fil-A?
In Massillon? No.
So it's hard because like they get some bad reviews. And it might be the first Chick-fil-A I've been to, and I love Chick-fil-A. Big supporter. If we're going to go somewhere, I like to vote with my dollars, places I support.
I love Chick-fil-A too.
And so I want to go there, but it's the first one. They just haven't figured out how to provide the Chick-fil-A experience. And I've been there on several occasions. However, I can figure it out. There's a lady there named Heather. Heather, you might be a listener, future listener. Sweet lady. I have never, in all the Chick-fil-A's I've ever been in, I've never met a lady that sets the tone inside the store like she does. She's up front talking to everybody. Guests walk in. She brightens their day. She's laughing, serving people, refilling stuff. Hey, you're just sitting down. You want a cup of coffee? Oh, I didn't order anything. Nope, I'll bring you a cup of coffee. Just a gem. True gem. Massillon gem.
Yeah.
She's local.
Hard to find.
Lived here, grew up here. Just can't beat it.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I will continue to go back to that Chick-fil-A. If they don't square things up, I'm going to have to probably go visit over your mom's old place over in Belden. That's
because my mom still is at the one in the mall.
Dude, the one at Belden's, they've turned it back around. It's
good.
back up and where it needs to be at. But
good.
That was just kind of sad because I love Chick-fil-A, but this one there's been a few less than great experiences. But still go there.
You know what it shows you?
Say hi to Heather.
It shows you like one person can make a difference in the environment.
100%.
One person.
Be the bean. Like a coffee bean. Throw it in a thing of water. Changes the entire environment.
Makes it all dark.
Makes it all dark.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that because it's like, and if you're having a grumpy day, like that affects other people around you.
Oh,
you gotta get yourself right in the morning.
Yep.
Ready to go.
So Heather, shout out. You're a light to this world. Stay a light.
Yeah, if you're listening, Heather.
Well, you look like you're ready to fall asleep.
It's bedtime, Jerry.
Bedtime.
It's 11:30, my friend.
Yeah, it's late.
Well, we'll wrap it up here. Yeah, we'll see you next Monday.
Next Monday.
Hopefully this video is edited a little better, looks a little better, sounds a little better, and
please provide feedback, good and bad.
Leave us comments.
Yeah,
leave us a comment.
You suck. Get off the air. You're great.
I drink skim milk, and I'm still going to listen. Whatever you want to say, we want to hear it.
Yeah, even if you do drink skim milk, I mean, we might accept you as a listener.
Yeah, or tell us your tell us a place that gave you a great experience. Why not? Yeah. Chime in on whatever you want, or tell me how you lost your hair and how the Clippers jam. Whatever, it's all good. So we'll see you guys.
Peace.